So I've been wanting to do a stream about mass shootings in America for a pretty long time, and so I'm just going to get started. I don't have anything really prepared. I'm just going to go there because almost every single day in America there's a mass shooting, um, and it's pretty insane. Honestly, it's very disheartening to see in this country that they're on almost a daily basis. Um, so I want to point this out to you. So if you take a look at this. I wish I had something that could let me like draw lines. I think that I need to focus on getting better content materials. But if you go to this line right here in this chart, let's zoom in a little bit. Oh, there we go. Let's open a new tab. So the third line at the top here, they've been tracking mass shootings in America. I mean, yeah, it's probably been happening before. Obviously, 2015, 332 in 2015 is pretty pretty large amount for it to just suddenly spring up out of nowhere, right? So, but if you look at as the years go on, in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, basically 2019 through 2024 was a pretty stark increase in mass shootings, and this is just the ones that are tallied by this website. And then this website, they just basically scrape the internet for articles that say that there was an incident where four or more people were shot in the same incident. Right, that's what qualifies as a mass shooting. And as you can see, in 2024, there were 503 mass shootings, which is actually a pretty significant decrease from 2023. And obviously, you can look at 2020 and 2021. Those are the big COVID years. The mass shootings were astronomical. 689. I mean, you're talking about almost two mass shootings a day in the United States. So we're going to go back. We're going to go down to basically 2025 here. You can see in 2025, and this is actually kind of encouraging. So you can see there's only been, I like to say only, but you can see there's been 22 mass shootings in 2025 so far. So we're going to click on that. And I'm just going to pick any one at random. Since it's my first one, I'm just going to pick the one with the most victims. Let's see. There's 9 victims. That's 10 victims with no killings. Oh, wow, in Queens. That's pretty wild. So, most recently, this is in, you know what? Instead of the most victims, I'm just going to go to the most recent one, which happened in Los Angeles. So, we're going to view the incident. And it happened in Athens Park. I'm going to zoom in on this. So there's a 18-year-old male who was killed, another 18-year-old male, 18 plus, excuse me. So 2 adult males were killed. And then you have a teenager, which was injured, another 18 plus male who was injured, another 18 plus male who was injured, and 2 more 18 plus males who were injured. This is the source right here, so we can zoom in on this. Oh, I'll accept your cookies, all right. We'll just go ahead and we'll read it. I don't know how much attention these articles get on the web. I don't see these things being reported. While mass shootings, I mean, they really only report the big news networks. They really only report on the mass shootings that are sensationalized, or they have the capacity to be sensationalized. Let's put it that way. So school shootings or more than 10 people killed or whatever. But instances like these where 7 people were shot in this incident, it's like it gets one little news article, maybe locally, and then there's not much else that they really talk about. Get rid of this advertisement right here. So here we go. I'm just going to read. A shooting claimed the lives of 2 men and resulted in the injuries of 5 others, including a teen, on Friday night. According to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, deputies were dispatched to the 13200 block of Jarvis Avenue in South Los Angeles around 8 p.m. on a report regarding gunshot wound victims. While LASD gave the location of the shootings as Athens Park, the address provided by authorities is several blocks southeast of the park near Barack Obama Charter Elementary School. Oh boy. Arriving deputies found 2 men suffering from gunshot wounds. Both of them were pronounced dead at a local hospital after being transported by first responders. LASD said, that's a very interesting sentence. Arriving deputies found 2 men suffering from gunshot wounds. It's implying that they might be alive. And then, of course, they were both pronounced dead at a local hospital after being transported by first responders. I can't even imagine having to be a first responder to show up and deal with something like this. That seems pretty wild to me, that you could just be doing your job, or you could just be at your job one day and you have to, as a paramedic, and you have to show up for gunshot victims. It's like, it's very bizarre. I don't know why. I get it. America is guns. There's guns everywhere in America. There's more guns in America than there are people. But I still think it's very strange that you be at your job and you now have to show up somewhere where people have been shot and potentially killed. Like what has happened here. They go on to say, deputies learned of 4 additional male adults and 1 male juvenile who were also injured by gunfire, authorities confirmed. They were treated at area hospitals for non-life-threatening injuries. No information surrounding a suspect or suspects was released, and no further details were available. So they didn't even get the guy, or person, I should say. And that's it. That's it. Let's see. 2 men were killed, and 5 other people were injured, including a teenager. They didn't get the suspect, but it's just like another day in the life in America. Let's do another one. Let's go to Tennessee. Let's go to the incident. We'll take a look at the varying people. So this one, you have the victims' names, so I'm going to say their names out here. Leon Parker, age 30. He was killed. Marcus Epps, 27 years old, man. Dude was killed. And there was a victim who was injured, another male victim, 2 male victims that were injured, and a female victim as well who was also injured. One died on scene and 1 died on way to hospital. And there were 2 guns involved. So let's go to the source. Oh. Let's get out of that. A horrific shooting has happened near the College Park Apartments, Tennessee, leaving several victims wounded. At least 6 individuals have been shot, according to officials, and are being taken to the hospital. However, their conditions remain unclear. So I imagine that the circumstances, the details have been updated. Oh, here we go. So they they kind of lead you without telling you what happened, and then they go later in the article. Whoops, did not want to do that. And then they tell you later on, or really, I mean, they tell you that people died, right? So here we go. A horrific shooting occurred near the College Park apartments in Lemoyne Owen College in Memphis, Tennessee, leaving 2 dead and several victims wounded, according to victims officials. 2 dead. 2 people are dead just from the shootings. I mean, life isn't hard enough. You also have to worry about getting shot in America. Shortly after the shooting, Lemoyne Owen issued a statement claiming that no one associated with the college was involved in the event, which took place off campus. Quote, Lemoyne Owen College remains fully operational following reports of an off campus incident near 948 College Park Drive. The incident did not involve or impact Lemoyne Owen College students, faculty, or staff, and there are no lockdowns or alerts in place at this time. The safety and well being of our campus community is always our top priority, said Dr. Dunn Ross, Chief Operating Officer of Lemoyne Owen College. We are aware of the situation and in communication with local authorities. At this time, there is no threat to our campus, and operations will continue as normal. Which what else are you going to do? Um, I don't know. It's just terrifying. When I was doing my master's, there was a guy who was shot dead um, on campus. He was struck by a stray bullet, and that was at the University of Bridgeport in Connecticut. And this guy, he was, I think he was like an exchange student or something. He had only been on campus for 2 weeks. He had arrived from India, and within 2 weeks of being on campus, he was dead. I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine if you're that kid's parents. You send your kid off to America. Hopefully, they get this education that's gonna bring them to the top tier of American society or whatever. At least land them a good job. And within 2 weeks, 2 weeks, your kid is dead. What happened? According to the Memphis Police Department, the incident took place at around 3:30 p.m. inside a house in the 900 block of the College Park Drive. In particular, a Memphis authorities spokesman urged anybody in the vicinity of cameras that could capture someone approaching the property make contact with the authorities. One man lost his life on the spot. A few minutes later, another guy passed away in the hospital. The location has been secured, and the incident is being looked into by law enforcement officials. I'm sorry, this is probably very tiny for you guys. Let's zoom in a little bit. Information on the potential suspect and a possible motive has not been yet made public by the authorities. So that's 2 for 2. They haven't caught the guy. And that's it. Let's do one more. One last one for tonight. And we'll just go. Oh, looks like they killed the suspect in the third one. And that one happened in Elkhart, Indiana. 2 victims killed, 2 victims injured, and the suspect was killed in this one. I'm going to do the one under this also, which has 9 total victims, 1 person who was killed, and 8 people who were injured. Oh, and they arrested the suspect there. All right, so let's do this one first. This one's the Elkhart, Indiana one. It happened on January 27th. Okay, wow. So there was a law enforcement person who was injured here. I'm not sure what CPL stands for. Is it corporal? Corporal or criminal procedural. Oh, well, it's probably corporal.
All right, let's settle down, everybody. Now that we have a completely new...
Let's get out of that. Apologies for that. PTL, Ethan Pasternak. I don't know what PTL stands for. Police lieutenant, potentially? Maybe they'll explain it later. And then they have a female who was killed. 19-year-old female. Anna Sue Rocha. Murdered. Benjamin S. Jeffrey, 49-year-old male, was killed. And then the suspect, Juan M. Sanchez, a 54-year-old male. Why? And he was killed. Wow. And they shot an employee and a customer in store. I don't know what 2LEO stands for. And the subject was killed in exchange of gunfire outside the store. Let's go to it. Let's talk through it.
He plays for jackpots and across all my favorite games, not just slots. With all these ways to win big, I feel like one of those high rollers at a casino.
All right, we're just going to wait for Kevin Hart to get off my screen. There we go.
101, signal 101 for Martins on Jackson. All units, officer down. All units be en route to 575 Gibson Boulevard.
Subject's down. One officer shot. Check that. 2 officers.
What you just heard were police radio transmissions from yesterday evening following shootings that claimed 3 lives at the Martin's grocery store in Elkhart. Good evening, I'm George Mallet. A large vigil for those who died and those who were injured took place in Elkhart tonight. We'll get to that in a moment. First, though, a look back at a violent night
so sad.
in the heart of Elkhart.
It's so sad. I mean, like, all they can do is a vigil. This guy had a mental breakdown or whatever was going on in his head at that time that he decided to kill others. And all you can do is have a vigil. There's no other action being taken. There's no other laws being curated or talked about or anything. And I'm not even saying that laws are the things that are necessarily going to stop gun violence. I think that there's a larger issue in America where I really do think that people's lives are just so miserable here that many people decide at a whim, on any whim, that they're just going to pick up a gun and go kill a bunch of people. And it's really sad. It's really freaking sad because those are the not, you know, I don't know how else to say this, but why are you killing people who have nothing to do with why your life is miserable? You know, I'm not saying you should kill anybody, but these are certainly not the people who are powerless, who have nothing, right? These aren't the people that you should be upset at. The people that we need to hold accountable are the powerful people in this country who want to keep us poor, who want to keep us angry at each other, and who put us in these horrible positions where our lives just, you know, you're treated like garbage in a manner of speaking in your life, and then one day you just go crazy and you kill people. You know, and that's even unfair of me to say that you go crazy. It's really unfair of me to say that. I wish I had better language for it, but you snap, right? And you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go kill a bunch of people. I'm gonna see how many people I can kill before I get killed myself. And look, these are the people that were killed. Look at this person. What did this woman do to deserve this? She didn't do anything to deserve this. Officials have identified the victims, I'm reading now. The officials have identified the victims of a shooting that left 3 people dead, including the suspect, and 2 police officers injured at the Martin's supermarket on East Jackson Boulevard in Elkhart. According to prosecutors, 19-year-old Anna Sue Rocha and 49-year-old Benjamin Jeffrey were killed by the lone gunman inside the store around 5:45 p.m. Monday. Rocha was an employee of Martin's, and Jeffrey was a customer. Oh, I had that backwards. She was an employee. Prosecutors then say the gunman exited the store and was confronted by two Elkhart police officers. The gunman reportedly fired multiple times at the officers, who responded by shooting and killing him. Both officers, Corporal Paul Vandenberg and PTL Ethan, I don't know what again, they don't say what PTL is, Ethan Pasternak, were shot during the exchange and are recovering from their injuries. Officials say Vandenberg was treated and released from the hospital, while Pasternak remains in the ICU in fair but stable condition. Quote, "We're very hopeful and expecting them to continue being stable and hopefully moving forward in recovery," said Elkhart Police Chief Dan Milanese during the city's Board of Public Safety meeting on Tuesday morning. Obviously, they will have a long road ahead. Elkhart police say Vandenberg has served with the department for over 7 years, while Pasternak has served with the department for almost 2 years. And these are the cops. The suspect has been identified by prosecutors as 54-year-old Juan Sanchez. Officials say he had moved to the area within the past year from Illinois. Our thoughts and prayers are with the people of... This is fucking bullshit with the thoughts and prayers, man. It's just bullshit. It's just fucking bullshit. That can't be the solution to everything. For the last, since Sandy Hook, all I've ever heard is fucking thoughts and prayers, man. It's always the same shit. And they never do anything about it. They just talk about mental health. Nothing's ever done about mental health. But I know what a real problem is in this country is poverty. Poverty is a real problem in this country. And I guarantee you this guy, Juan Sanchez, he was not a wealthy man. Wealthy people don't do stuff like this. And I don't even want to say wealthy. I want to say people who have are stable financially most likely aren't going to go out and fucking murder people like this. You know, it's really like bothersome about this, and I'm not sure how you would even go about getting this information, is in all three of these articles, there's no motive ever declared. And I'm sure that hopefully that's something that gets brought to light over time, right? And that's it. That's it right there. That is it. Hearts in prayer. Hearts are with the victims. Da, 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 da. And nothing is said about how they can go about fixing this problem, because nobody points to the fact that it was probably poverty. If I had to put my money, I don't know the circumstances, obviously. I don't know the motive. But if I had to put my money on it, I would say that this guy was poor as fuck. Right? Probably worked his whole life, working his ass off. One day he wakes up, he's 54 years old, and he gets into some kind of whatever disagreement with somebody at that store. I don't know what happened, right? And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. This is it. I'm taking this motherfucker out. I'm taking this motherfucker out, and then I'm done. I'm going to try and shoot police until I'm dead. All right. We're going to do one more, and then I'm done. This is so freaking horrible, but I do feel like these stories need to be talked about more, as much as people can get their message out about what's happening in this country. The fact that we've had thousands of mass shootings over the last 10 years is wild, is absolutely wild to me. I think there have been over 3,000 mass shootings over the last 10 years. Here, let's see. Let's go home. So you got let's bring up our handy calculator over here. So you have 332 plus 383 plus 347 plus 335 plus 414 plus 611 plus 689 plus 644 plus 659 plus 503. There you go. From 2015 to 2014, right? 32, 383, 347, 335, 414, 611, 689, 644, 659, and 503. You have 4,917 mass shootings that were captured over 10 years. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to me. That's almost right. If you divide that by 10, that's 10 years, 2015 to 2014. 2024, I mean. If you divide this by 10, it's 491 mass shootings a year on average, right? And it's the last several years have been worse than that. The last several years have been way above that average. Been 611 mass shootings in 2020, 689 mass shootings in 2021, and 503 last year. I mean, that's bananas to me. And how many of these do you actually hear about? You hear about Uvalde, you hear about Sandy Hook, you hear about Christchurch, which happened in New Zealand, you hear about the black church where I think Dylan Roof fucking killed a whole bunch of people at a church. You hear about those, but you don't hear about the fact that this is happening every single day in America. Every single day, just about, this is happening in America. I mean, look at that. That's per year. That's more than one per day on average in the United States of America. All right, last one we're going to do is in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, so of course there's 9 victims. The suspect was arrested. Uh, 25-year-old guy was killed. John Love Luima. 25 years old, he was murdered. Gunfire. And then you have many victims. They don't tell you the sex of the victims. And then this is the subject, Robert Kenny Knox. It's quite a name. And he was unharmed and arrested. This guy shot 9 people. 9 people. Probably gave himself up. And now he will probably face a horrible life in prison. For what? 23 years old? You want to spend the rest of your life in prison? Was that worth it for you? But here's the thing. That's bad on my part for judging this person because I don't know what they were going through for them to pick up a gun and do this. And I know it sounds unreasonable in a manner of speaking, but we necessarily have to understand the problems that these people were suffering before they commit these crimes. Otherwise, we're never going to get to the bottom of this. We're always going to be reactionary. We're always going to feel like the moment it happens is where we start the story, not beforehand where we could have stopped it. And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. I have a daughter now. She's almost 10 months old. I don't want her to be out there one day and get hit by a stray bullet. I don't want her to be out in a mall one day and some guy just starts opening fire and she has to be traumatized for the rest of her life. We as a people need to figure out how we are going to claim our power back from the most powerful people in this country. Because as long as there is so much severe income inequality in this country, we are going to continue to try to kill each other instead of working together and organizing to reclaim our power back. Oh boy. That is Robert Kenny Knox, Naria Hiesta Ines Hayes, and Britt Brinson Cave. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why all three of these people were. Okay, here we go. The shooter, who was Robert Kenny Knox, and the driver have been charged with 1 count of murder and 8 counts of deadly conduct. What about this Britt Brinson? Okay. A backseat passenger has been identified as 22-year-old Britt Crinson Cave. Oh, they have him as Brinson. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's not funny. Just got the name wrong. Here's what we know. Investigators say just after 2 a.m. Sunday, numerous 911 calls were made reporting a shooting in the 700 block of S. Polk Street. Witnesses told police a vehicle approached the entrance of an open nightclub and one person got out and opened fire into a large crowd with a rifle. Why? Oh. My screen's been hijacked. After shooting multiple rounds, the suspect got back into the vehicle and left the scene. Another witness decided to follow the suspect's vehicle and called 911 to relay the direction of travel. Randall County Sheriff's deputies were able to find and stop the vehicle. 3 people were arrested and taken to Amarillo Police Department's Homicide Division for questioning. 9 people had gunshot wounds. 6 of them were taken to hospitals for medical care. 3 others were taken to the hospital by private vehicle. Interesting. One victim, 25-year-old John Love Luima, died at the hospital due to multiple gunshot injuries. The suspected shooter was identified as Robert Kenny Knox. The driver of the vehicle was identified as Naria Hilesta Ines Hayes, a backseat passenger who was 22-year-old Britt Crinson Cave. Knox and Hayes have been charged with 1 count of murder and 8 counts of deadly conduct. Cave has been charged with public intoxication. That's got to be a weird night, right? You're in the backseat of a car with murderers, and the only thing you're charged for is public intoxication. I'd say that guy got off easy. Investigators say the shooting possibly stems from an earlier altercation inside the bar. And there you have it. So that's just 4 of these mass shootings. Just 4. Right? And you know what? I'm going to keep coming back and I'm going to keep reporting on these mass shootings. And, you know, I have to say I'm glad that they even report on these. They actually put these in the paper or something. And I'm really glad for this website because they tell you they have all kinds of wonderful statistics about all the various horrors regarding guns and gun deaths. And, you know, look, they have murder-suicides down here. They have suicide by firearm, which is usually the largest number. I mean, look, in 2024, there were 16,725 basically murders, right, by firearm. But then you have down here suicides. Oh, we don't have the numbers. Let's go back. Let's do 2023. 19,000 firearm deaths, right? So willful, malicious, or accidental. And then you have 27,000 suicides by firearm in the United States. That's just suicides by firearm. That's not including every other type of form of suicide that happened in the United States. I mean, I'd love to know what those numbers are. Almost 50,000 people killed themselves in 2023. And half of them, more than half of them, were via firearms, right? Let me make sure I'm right there. Yeah, more than half. 27,310. I mean, the suicides in America have probably gone up. I mean, I'd love to see what the. I mean, basically across the board, numbers have gone up, even for females. There was a slight dip in 2020, but it's made a bit of a rebound. And then for men, I mean, do they have the tables? I don't want to see it for males. I want to see it for everybody. Here we go. Wow, look at that. Women, 4.2 per 100,000, and men, it's 18.5 in 2002. And the number has jumped to 23 for men and almost 6 for women. That's just bananas to me. I mean, that's so crazy. I mean, look at this. Pound for pound, the numbers have gone up. Now, I'm not factoring in population growth. So that is something that needs to be taken into consideration. So your population growth is divided by 282, 398, 554. So you have a 20% population increase over about the same period of time. And let's see. But that's per capita, right? So population growth doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, maybe it has some influence, but per capita, they're saying per 100,000 people, those numbers have gone up. All right, I'm going to stop here. Listen, be safe. Challenge your local government. Make them do better. Make sure poor people are taken care of. That they have a voice in this country, because those are the people. Many of the times, those people are the ones who are going to come and they're the ones who are going to snap. Because I think it was Martin Luther King who said it. Violence, a riot, is the language of the unheard. But I think that applies to individuals as well. Unheard people, people who feel like they don't have a voice, feel like they've been screwed over by the system, feel like they did everything right in their life, and life is still a struggle for them. I mean, we have to figure out how to take care of those people before they flip, before they turn into a monster. Because that monster is inside all of us. It's inside every single last one of us. And if we aren't willing to confront that on a societal level, we're just going to continue to watch things get worse, and we're going to continue to want to kill each other. And I hope the takeaway from this post or whatever I'm doing tonight is that we have a huge hill to climb in this country. We have a lot of work to do. We have to figure out how to make this place a much more livable, less unequal place for people to live. Thank you.